with Peter Jennings.
Good evening. We begin tonight with the war against drugs. President Bush says it is too soon to declare victory, but hard work, he says, is paying off. The reason for Mr. Bush's optimism is a new survey that finds cocaine use down, marijuana use down, teenage drug use in general down, which does not leave everyone impressed. Are the numbers misleading? Are they accurate? Do they, as some in Washington insist, miss whole categories of hard drug users who were never questioned? That notwithstanding, Mr. Bush called it very good news today at the White House. Here's ABC's Britt Hume.
The president, his mind seemingly on other matters, made only a brief appearance to read a statement as his administration announced the new figures showing a sharp drop in drug use.
The news we have today suggests that our hard work is paying off and that our national strategy is having an effect.
That news, according to the National Institute on Drug Abuse survey of households, is that cocaine use is down 45% in 2 years, and that it's off nearly 50% among adolescents. The survey also found less significant reductions in the use of marijuana, alcohol, and cigarettes. But the household survey came under immediate attack from Senate Judiciary Chairman Biden, a Democrat. He cited a committee staff report saying that in part because it excludes people living in prisons, shelters, and on the street, the survey ends up missing more addicts than it counts. Other Democrats agreed.
It would allow people to believe that we got a handle on this problem when the problem is really out of hand.
Administration officials insist that even if the number of people surveyed is low, it's the trends that count, and the trends are accurate.
These numbers are undeniably encouraging. America's fight against drugs has gone well in the recent past. The drug problem, even in some of its most difficult aspects, is now getting better.
You might have expected more excitement from the White House about these new statistics. After all, getting rid of what he called the scourge of drug abuse was President Bush's only Inauguration Day promise. But that was before he made that more recent promise about getting Iraq out of Kuwait. Britt Hume, ABC News, the White House.
There is also mixed news today about the drug war in Colombia. A major drug lord has surrendered to the government there. Fabio Ochoa is one of the leaders of the Medellin drug cartel. It is mixed news because his surrender is the result of a new Colombian policy which says to major drug traffickers, in essence, let's make a deal. Here's ABC's Mark Potter.
As family members recorded the event on home videotape, reputed cocaine boss Fabio Ochoa surrendered. He had eluded Colombian authorities for years, but now is taking advantage of the favorable terms provided under the government's new plan. Under the agreement, a trafficker who turns himself in and confesses to at least one crime will serve a reduced sentence in a relatively comfortable Colombian prison. He will also be protected from extradition to other countries to stand trial. That is especially important to Ochoa, who is likely to confess to minimal charges in Colombia, but is accused in U.S. courts of smuggling tons of cocaine and plotting the 1986 murder of DEA informant Barry Seal. In an exclusive interview with ABC News, President Cesar Gaviria predicted more traffickers will surrender soon in order to avoid being captured or killed by Colombian police.
We are fighting as hard as ever. We will be doing that in the future, and we expect the cocaine business to get out of Colombia.
But many U.S. and Colombian authorities believe in the search for peace, the government is caving in to the traffickers. They fear with lenient prison sentences and guarantees against extradition, Colombia will become a safe haven for traffickers, who, according to authorities, have been increasing their output of cocaine since the negotiations began. Gaviria says in the war on drugs, the United States has no right to point fingers at Colombia.
You cannot say in the United States that this is a heaven for the traffickers, because the major effort for interdiction has been done by Colombia, not by U.S.
A year ago, Colombia was aggressively pursuing the drug traffickers at great cost to peace in Colombia. Today, there is a deal and peace, and still plenty of cocaine. Mark Potter, ABC News, Bogota, Colombia.
Officials in the Bush administration said today they will be watching to see if Ochoa gets a stiff prison term. Later on the American agenda, we'll see how the drug war appears to be failing in Panama. Also tonight, a message to China about the rights of political prisoners, and in a moment, who is really paying for the military buildup in the Gulf.